The year is 1988, and somewhere in Slovenia, a teenage girl clips fashion photos from smuggled Western magazines, dreaming of a world beyond socialist borders. Those magazine pages would become her roadmap, each glossy image a stepping stone across continents and social classes. While her peers planned careers in local factories, she forged a path through Europe's fashion capitals. Milan taught her how to walk runways, but more importantly, how to navigate a world where beauty alone wasn't enough. Paris showed her the difference between wealth and true power. By the time she reached New York, Melania had become Melania, and those teenage dreams had evolved into a success blueprint. Thus, here we are in 2024. That same girl now moves through a life where Air Force One is standard transport and the most powerful dinners in the world are just another Tuesday night. In today's episode, we share how Melania Trump's evolution from Melania Nav's to billionaire president's wife transcends simple rags-to-riches tales. Indeed, this is the story of a woman who turned modeling contracts into business empires, fashion spreads into political power, and calculated silence into pure gold. In 2024, Melania Trump's personal fortune sits at $50 million, a figure that would impress anyone except her husband, whose $6.5 billion, which naturally he shares with her, makes her millions look like loose change found between Mar-a-Lago's sofa cushions. Indeed, it's quite the financial glow-up for Melania, someone who once posed in Milan wearing outfits that probably cost less than her current breakfast tab. And her personal wealth originated from what one might call a vertically integrated career path. First standing in front of cameras for Vogue, Vanity Fair and Glamour, then selling jewelry on QVC, and later convincing wealthy women that caviar belonged on their face rather than their plate. While these ventures are now defunct, they proved rather more successful than most supermodel side hustles. Now, the former First Lady's personal assets read like a dictionary entry for luxury. The crown jewel is her $3 million engagement ring, featuring a 25-carat diamond so large it probably has its own gravitational pull. Certainly, her jewelry collection would make Cartier's display cases look understocked, while her Vacheron Constantin watch costs more than what most people spend on their cars and their houses, combined. When we add Donald's assets to the equation, the numbers become properly ridiculous. Mar-a-Lago, their Florida home/members club, raked in $56 million last year. Apparently charging astronomical prices for dinner doesn't deter the wealthy. Their golf empire includes the National Doral, which pulled in $160 million, proving golf can indeed be profitable, just not for most of us, while Bedminster Club added another $37 million to the family piggy bank. Yet despite sharing enough wealth to buy a small country or run the world's most powerful one, Melania maintains a surprisingly low profile when she's not on First Lady duties. She's chosen the role of hands-on mother to Baron, splitting time between New York, Florida and DC, while her Be Best initiative focuses on foster care, though one imagines her charitable donations might arrive in a slightly nicer envelope than most. Now, the journey from Eastern European model to American billionaire's wife with her own millions might sound like a Netflix series pitch, but to understand how young Melania Knavs engineered this transformation, we need to return to a small industrial town in Yugoslavia, where designer labels were about as common as winning lottery tickets. On a spring morning in 1970, as the industrial town of Sevnica stirred to life beneath Yugoslavia's softening communist rule, Melania Knavs was born into a world of modest possibilities. Her surname, of German origin, had evolved into its Slovene variant, Knavs, through generations of Central European migration and cultural mixing. Her father, Victor, began his working life as a chauffeur before transitioning to a position as a traveling salesman for a state-owned car company. Her mother, Amalia, whose skilled hands would influence her daughter's appreciation for style, worked as a pattern maker at Jutranjka, a children's clothing manufacturer. Their apartment in one of Sevnica's concrete residential buildings was typical of Yugoslavia's working class, comfortable by the standards of the time, but far from luxurious. Yugoslavia's unique position between East and West allowed its citizens greater freedom than those behind the Iron Curtain. Western magazines circulated freely in Sevnica, and foreign travel, while not common, wasn't forbidden. Young Melania absorbed these influences, developing an early fascination with the fashion magazines her mother brought home from work. In school, Melania distinguished herself through determination rather than privilege. She mastered Slovenian and German, later adding English, French and Italian to her repertoire. While her peers dreamed of local success, she pored over Western fashion magazines, sketching designs in notebooks between classes. The move to Ljubljana for high school marked her first step toward transformation. The capital city, with its mix of socialist architecture and Baroque splendor, offered glimpses of the Western world she yearned to join. Her natural height and poised demeanor caught attention, most notably from photographer Stane Jerko, who spotted the teenager on the street and recognized her potential. As the 1980s drew to a close and Yugoslavia began its gradual dissolution, Melania's path diverged from her peers. While they prepared for traditional careers in Sevnica's factories and offices, she began appearing in local fashion shows and building a modest portfolio. The concrete buildings of her childhood began to feel like constraints rather than shelter. But the leap from Ljubljana's small modeling scene to international fashion required more than just ambition. It demanded a complete reinvention that would test every lesson in survival she'd learned in Sevnica's pragmatic environment. At 16, Melania's first modeling assignments in Slovenia marked the beginning of a calculated ascent through fashion's demanding hierarchy. By 18, she had signed with a Milan agency, transforming herself from Melania of Sevnica to Melania of the international runway. The early 1990s saw her building a solid reputation across Europe. She shared cramped Milan apartments with other aspiring models while mastering the business side of the industry, learning to negotiate rates, manage her own schedule, and navigate the complex politics of casting calls. Her work ethic distinguished her from peers who relied solely on looks, leading to steady commercial work in both Milan and Paris. It was in Paris that a crucial connection emerged. Paolo Zampoli, co-owner of Metropolitan Models, recognized potential beyond her portfolio shots. He offered her representation in New York, where the fashion industry's appetite for Eastern European models was growing. In 1996, armed with Zampoli's sponsorship and her own savings, she made the move to Manhattan. The New York fashion scene opened new doors. Through Zampoli's social connections, she began appearing at high-profile events that merged modeling with networking. At a New York Fashion Week party at the Kit Kat Club in 1998, she met Donald Trump. Despite his arriving with another date, he pursued Melania's number. She initially declined, a response that intrigued him even more. Their first date at Mumbai a week later launched a relationship that would reshape both their lives. Post-millennium, Melania began exploring business ventures beyond modeling. In 2009, she launched a jewelry collection on QVC that successfully merged affordable prices with luxury design elements. In 2011, she developed Melania Caviar Complex C6, an ambitious skincare line. Though legal complications prevented its full launch, the venture demonstrated her growing business acumen. Marriage to Donald Trump in 2005 had already elevated her public profile, but few could have predicted how drastically her life would change when her husband stepped onto that Trump Tower escalator in 2015. The decade between their wedding and his presidential announcement had prepared her for public scrutiny, but nothing could have fully readied her for what came next. The transition from Trump Tower penthouse to White House residence marked the most dramatic shift in Melania's carefully constructed world. Her first months as First Lady challenged traditional protocols. She remained in New York until Barron completed his school year. a decision that cost taxpayers approximately $130,000 per day in security, but underscored her stated priority: motherhood above political obligations. When she did assume her official duties, Melania brought the same measured approach that had served her in business. Her Be Best initiative, launched in May 2018, focused on children's well-being, online safety, and opioid abuse. The program garnered both praise and criticism, particularly regarding its cyberbullying component, which some viewed as contradictory given the broader political context. The East Wing under Melania operated distinctly from the West Wing. She maintained a smaller staff than her predecessors, though she ensured key positions were filled by loyal personnel. Her communications director, Stephanie Grisham, became known for zealously guarding Melania's privacy while maintaining her public image. Certain moments during her tenure sparked intense public interest. The footage of her appearing to avoid holding Donald's hand in Israel, her choice to wear a jacket emblazoned with "I really don't care, do you?" while visiting migrant children, and her selective campaign appearances all generated widespread media coverage and speculation about her mindset. By the time the Trumps departed Washington in January 2021, Melania had carved out a unique approach to her role as First Lady, one that emphasized privacy and selective engagement over traditional constant visibility. Her tenure sparked discussions about the evolving nature of the First Lady's role in modern American politics. The end of the Trump presidency, however, didn't signal Melania's retreat from public life. A new chapter was beginning, one that would test her ability to balance family obligations with personal aspirations. In 2024, Melania Trump remains a unique figure in American history, the First Lady born in a communist country, though she emigrated from Slovenia long after its transition from communism. From Mar-a-Lago's gilded halls, she has crafted a distinct post-White House presence, balancing privacy with selective public engagements in a way that continues to intrigue both supporters and critics. Her independent ventures since leaving Washington have drawn particular attention. The launch of her NFT platform in 2021 generated significant media coverage, with the digital artworks featuring aspects of her White House tenure. Her October 2024 memoir proved even more significant, providing her first comprehensive account of life in the White House and offering previously undisclosed insights into her role in key moments of the Trump presidency. Unlike her predecessors, who typically embraced consistent public roles after leaving office, with Michelle Obama focusing on educational initiatives, Laura Bush on literacy, and Hillary Clinton launching a political career, Melania has maintained the selective approach that characterized her time as First Lady. She continues her advocacy for children's causes, maintaining the momentum of her Be Best initiative while adapting its focus for private citizenship. The program's emphasis on cyberbullying and online safety has taken on new relevance in an era of increasing digital threats. Her impact on the institution of First Lady defies simple categorization. Rather than conform to traditional expectations, she demonstrated that the role could accommodate different approaches to public engagement and personal privacy. Her tenure challenged long-held assumptions about the obligations and boundaries of presidential spouses, particularly regarding the balance between public duty and personal autonomy. The arc from Sevnica to Mar-a-Lago encompasses more than just geographic distance. It traces the evolution of a woman who transformed modeling success into global prominence. While debate continues about her choices in public life, her path from Eastern Europe to the White House exemplifies a distinctive version of the American immigrant experience. Her story has resonated particularly strongly with first-generation Americans who see in her journey a reflection of their own aspirations. Now, with Donald Trump's successful 2024 campaign, Melania prepares for a return to the White House in January 2025. Her second chapter as First Lady will test whether her unique approach to the role can evolve while maintaining the independence that has defined her public life. The coming years will determine whether her legacy represents a lasting shift in how future First Ladies approach this highly public role. Those who have worked closely with her suggest that Melania's second term as First Lady will likely feature a more confident, experienced approach to the role, though still on her own terms. Her ability to maintain privacy while occupying the most public of positions has become her trademark, a skill that may prove even more valuable in an era of increasing media scrutiny and political polarization. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. What is your opinion of Melania Trump? Has she done, and will she do, a great job as First Lady, or is she secretly more controversial than we think? Let us know your opinion below. And with that said, thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury. And cheers, until next time.